Another episode to Donia Sports. Yes, we've switched the name to it to Donia Sports. I hope everyone likes it. Maybe some future changes, we'll see. But we are going to do the first mock draft of the season. The NFL season concluded last Sunday with that missed field goal. We have had some crazy NFL news. The coaches getting fired, the Cardinals, John Harbaugh getting fired. A lot of coaching changes, pretty much. So these teams are the teams that got eliminated from the playoffs. So it's going to be the first 18 picks, pretty much, of our mock. Ty, would you like to go first if you're mock, if you had to say, or do you want to go one and one? Let's go 1-1. We'll talk about the first overall pick and the second
First
overall
pick,
pick.
yeah.
We'll do that, okay?
Yep.
So who got the first pick?
Starting with the Raiders, they get their franchise guy, Fernando Mendoza. I feel like this is kind of obvious. Really good guy. When plays are breaking down for him, he can get out of the pocket and he can make good passes on the run. And his accuracy right there is just insane to me, especially watching that Alabama game. And when the pressure comes to him, he kind of unfolds it and kind of reacts to it in a good way. And this is what you really want to see from quarterbacks coming out of college. And honestly, I think he's the most ready quarterback in this class.
And I agree with you with that. He is the most ready quarterback in this draft. And I'll also take him with the Raiders taking him first overall pick. They need their franchise quarterback. They haven't had a draft first overall pick since, the whole Jamarcus Russell situation. But we know Jamarcus Russell coming out of college was very high and down, just a big quarterback, if anything. But Fernando, he won the Heisman. They're undefeated still. They play, I believe, tomorrow or Thursday, if I'm correct, against Oregon in the Peach Bowl. So that should be entertaining. And he's doing phenomenal right now. He's having the best resumes we've seen, undefeated, going to the Natty maybe since Joe Burrow. It's been a while since we've seen a quarterback like that to go first overall, going to the Natty and all that kind of stuff if he has that chance. So he has that accuracy. My biggest concern is he finds a way to win. He does not let the pressure get to him. He finds a way. He thinks the positive. He's a great leader in the locker room. You can see what he's done in Indiana. I mean, he was a 3-star quarterback coming out of college, went to Cal. He was good at Cal too. So he can win. And I feel like the type of quarterback he is, he doesn't need star weapons. He doesn't need anything. He makes his weapons good. That one random receiver, Beck or something like that, number 80, he came out of nowhere. He hasn't done shit the whole season except that national championship, the Big Ten championship. He came out of nowhere with 182 yards, 170 yards, and then the college football Rose Bowl game, pretty much had a phenomenal game in that. So, I mean, I hope it's not the system because Kurt Cincinnati, he's made the quarterbacks look good. The quarterback last year, Roy, if I'm correct if his name is the Canadian quarterback, he was solid, but he's not like Fernando, of course. But I hope it's not a system thing. They build these quarterbacks really good, but the NFL, it's terrible. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really see that out of Fernando Mendoza. He's a really smart player.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's kind of obvious he went to Cal, Berkeley, I don't know if it was his master's or something, but he's a really smart guy.
Yeah.
And this is the perfect quarterback for the Vegas Raiders because, he won't be one of those type of guys who's going to be in the media and all that stuff. He'll be in his room, locked in, looking at plays. So, yeah, really good pick for the Raiders.
Yeah, they say he's a geek when it comes to football stuff. He's a nerd, and that's what you love, a nerd. And you forget, Tom Brady sees a lot of his similarities in him, pretty much. The same thing, same story, kind of like that. And if that similarity is right there, and then Tom Brady gets his quarterback, I would love to see this. It really depends who's going to be the coach for this team. And I pray is a offensive coordinator coach, or if it's a DC coach, I hope it's like Brian Flores, if anything. You got to go get Brian Flores. Because my two coaches right now is Clint Kubiak or Brian Flores right now. They're my two coaches right now for the Raiders to see how that goes, for my opinion, with that.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, so now with your Jets, you are, of course, going to say – you say it for me.
If he goes to the draft, it's got to be Dante Moore. It's got to be Dante Moore.
Of course. And I think he should. I mean, especially if he wins this week against Indiana. I mean, it's hard to be a team, back to back, in the same season twice. It's one of the hardest things to do. We saw what Ole Miss did to Georgia, so it's very tough with that. But I think he declares. I mean, you're losing a lot of star powers. I know Oregon's going to bring back a lot of players. They're generated players, pretty much. I mean, this is his first year of college football, but he was been phenomenal this year. So I think he does come back, honestly. And if the thing is though, if you just get you just don't rush him. Don't rush him in, pretty much. Don't put him in a Sam Darnold situation, a Zach Wilson situation. Let him learn under a veteran. I don't know who the veteran's going to be. Malik Willis. Maybe keep Justin. Maybe go keep on Tyrod Taylor. I don't know. You got to get a veteran if you get Dante Moore, in my opinion.
I 100% agree. And the rumors are right now that Justin Fields will be cut by the Jets by the end of the season.
Mhm.
And I don't know the situation with Tyrod Taylor. So I mean, bringing a guy like Malik Willis, who has kind of like the similarities and that same type of player. I mean, it could work for Dante Moore, but yeah, I agree. Don't rush him in, especially when you've seen like
No.
recently these teams with Sam Darnold, who's been killing it with the Seahawks for him as a 1 seed, and even
Mhm.
Zach Wilson, who hasn't had his chance yet. But I mean, I could very easily see him being a QB2 for a team. Quarterback goes down, he gets his chance, and maybe proves why he was the second overall pick. But you can't rush guys in situations, especially if you're a franchise like the Jets.
No, you can't. And they have recent history. Woody Johnson should learn on the situation of the Sam Darnold situation. Do not rush your young quarterbacks because Sam Darnold, you saw him; he was a late bloomer. You just got to get the right OC or the right coordinators. Hopefully Aaron Glenn in the second year he can get a team going pretty much with the defense a little bit with all these draft picks ahead in this draft. How many draft picks do y'all have in this draft? Is it around like 11 or something like that, or
It's like 11 something. I know we
11
don't
or
have a third pick, but we have
third
a
pick?
lot early.
Yeah, you have a lot. You have two first, 2 sec. I don't know how many seconds, like 2 seconds, I believe, or
Yeah,
three.
2 seconds.
2 seconds. I mean, you literally have the draft right there for your thing. Um, but enough of this. Pretty much of that. The third overall pick, I have the Cardinals taking Arvell Reese from Ohio State. I like this move because they need a culture changing player. Like we remember when they took Isaiah Simmons, we expected him to be that type of guy. But the thing about Isaiah Simmons, he was more of the secondary type of guy. Reese is a pass rusher guy. He will spy your quarterback. He can be a Micah Parsons. He can be an overshow pretty much player. He can get to the quarterback. And that man's speed is insane. 6'3", benches like 405, runs a 4'4", if I'm correct. The man around like 245. The man's a mission, like a monster, if anything. He's literally Micah Parsons 2.0, if anything, but probably faster, if anything. Um, I think this is a smart move for the Cardinals. You need a culture changing pick right here. And I don't think if you do let go Kyler, do not reach on the quarterback yet. No, not reach on your franchise quarterback yet. You have history with that with Josh Rosen, reach on there. So I don't think you reach yet on a draft quarterback. You get a veteran, if anything, though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to agree with you on this one. I also have Arvell Reese going to the Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of like boost up that defense. You're in kind of a complete mess right now with the Cardinals, especially firing Gannon and kind of reworking whatever your situation with Kyler Murray is. One of the bright spots is though Michael Wilson and Marvin Harrison can also break out next year. So you have the pieces on offense. Get that defense bolstered up and hope for the best for the future, especially with another bad year. Maybe go for a quarterback next year and a pretty strong quarterback class, I would say. And getting a guy like Arvell Reese, again, like you said, can help culture a defense. And, this guy's a lot of good leadership skills I've seen. And I think this is a really home run pick for the Cardinals.
I do too. I think this is a phenomenal pick. And you look at their defense. They took Walter Nolan last year, and when Walter Nolan was playing, he was really good. You still have Will Johnson, one of the top corners from last year's draft class. Denzel Burke, another rookie. Like their defense is young. They just need a superstar player. That's what they're missing, like a superstar talented player. And I think he can be that superstar player to change his dynamic of the defense, in my opinion. And offensively, we'll see the whole quarterback situation because they got Trey McBride, Mike Wilson, like you said, Marvin Harrison. They have the talent for that, in my opinion. Um, so enough of that right there. Did I lose you, Ty? You still here?
Kind of lagged out right there.
You kind of lagged out there, or are you still here?
Yep.
All right. Okay. So with the Tennessee Titans, I think this pick, it's a big reach, if anything. I'm going to have the Tennessee Titans take a receiver here.
Wow.
I have them taking Jordan Tyson.
Wow.
You understand, I know Cam Moore is phenomenal and all that, but he needs a X factor receiver. He's making plays with these shitty receivers like old head Calvin Ridley and your Xavier Restricto and all of those like Alec Almahor, or I don't know how to say the Stanford receiver. Like he's making plays with these veterans. Okay, he
Mm.
needs a superstar. Jordan Tyson is overall the best receiver in this draft class, coming from Allen High School, from Arizona State, went to Colorado for 1 year, then dipped out because of the whole Deion situation. He's honestly the best. I saw what he did to Baylor earlier this year. Man, cooked us pretty much. I mean, this guy was a game changer, but like he is a game changer. He's a X factor receiver. That man can line up and run a literally how he says. This is one of the things that's interesting about him. He gets his like he looks at the film of these receivers. He displays his film like with Devontae Adams, pretty much. A lot of Devontae Adams, I see comparison like there a little bit. Um, Not like a Julio Jones or anything, but like more of a route running receiver, and that's what I think they need. They need separation type of receiver, if anything. And I think he fits the system for them. I know that the Tennessee Titans are. There's a lot of pieces, but I think you got to get that chemistry going with Cam Ward, in my opinion.
Okay, I like that pick. I don't have him at 4 though. I have a guy that I think Cam Ward will be kind of edging on the office to go get, and they'll team up back in the NFL. Give me Ruben Bain to the Tennessee Titans.
Okay.
I mean, just Cam Ward. I feel like he'll push for it. He's a really loyal guy. He could have transferred out of Miami after last year and all that, and he stayed. I think he committed back in 2021 or 2022 when the program really wasn't looking as like nice as it is right now. And, he stayed through the whole process, and now they're in the semifinals. So I really think Cam Ward really likes his attitude, and he's one of the best edge rushers coming into the draft. And I think Ruben Bain could be the guy that kind of saves that defense for the Titans, especially when you can get a guy later in the draft at wide receiver, because there's a lot of depth in receiver for this draft. But I don't think as edge, there's going to be that much of this guy like Ruben Bain out there. So I feel like Ruben Bain will go to the Titans.
Bain, he's a unique player. I say that for sure. It was between Jordan Tyson and Bain, and I feel like the Tennessee Titans are going to go more of the offensive side, just help Cam Moore. But I can see what your similarities with the defense of that. And if you get Bain with Jeffrey Simmons, that will be an insane time duo right there with Sweat. So that defensive line would be insane if that does happen. In this pick right here, the Giants could have had the first overall pick 2 weeks ago. But they decided to win 2 games in a row and screw themselves with the 5th overall pick. And I don't even know what the Giants go here. We don't even know who their coach is. If they get John Harbaugh, we talked about this yesterday about this. If they get him, it's over. I feel like that team is insanely good.
Yeah, I feel like John Harbaugh will kind of unlock something, especially with what Vrabel did with the New England Patriots. A team that's been struggling for years and years. I mean, the Patriots, I don't really see them having that much talent as the Giants do right now. You have guys on defense like Brian Burns, who I believe had 17 and a half sacks. Abdul Carter is a young stud, had a kind of a iffy season, but, he'll be there and get unlocked. And guys on offense like Cam Skadoo coming off a bad injury, but I still think he can put up numbers. And even your franchise quarterback, Jackson Dart, who's taken a lot of big hits. But I feel like with John Harbaugh, what he's done with Lamar Jackson to kind of reduce the injury could work for Jackson Dart.
I agree with that. And, look at their offense. Waldo Robinson, 1,000-yard receiver. Last year, Malik Neighbors, 1,000-yard receiver. So you're going to guarantee the 2,000-yard receivers. And this pick, they got to go O-line, in my opinion. I think they take Spencer Fano from Utah. He's a really good tackle from Utah. He's a solid player. I mean, he's easily – him and Caleb from Utah have been a phenomenal duo right there. They said it's one of the time duos in Utah pretty much. I just looking at his stats with Spencer Fano. I mean, he's easily one of the best tackles up there with the guy from Miami. I forgot his name.
Francis Mongo or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yes.
Mauigan or something. I don't know how to pronounce the last name.
Yeah, and this tackle draft
is
this tackle draft is unique. It's very solid. You look at his stats pretty much. His PDF. Trying to say PDF. They gave him an 84 off this year. 84 offensive grade. Pass blocking 0 sacks, 5 pressures allowed. Out of 295 snaps. He's played left tackle and right tackle, so he can put anywhere. They can put him anywhere. So you still can work that combination with Andrew Thompson, because Andrew Thompson has been a phenomenal tackle when he's healthy. That's the biggest concern if he stays healthy with them. His run block, he's solid. He's a really good run block with his size. Around, if I'm correct, how tall is he? I think 6'6", if I'm correct. 6'6" tackle. So he fits the frame and everything. I think his wingspan's also pretty good. So he has that thing. You can put him anywhere you need him to be. So I think they go O-line here with Spencer Fano at this pick.
Okay, I like that pick. There's a prediction I have right now that might seem ridiculous, but in the future I feel like I could see it happening. I feel like Wan'Dale Robinson walks, gets his bag, becomes a 1 somewhere, and they go with a guy, Carnell Tate, out of Ohio State. One of the favorite prospects in this draft right now.
I was very interesting because the thing is Waldo a free agent this offseason or no?
Wan'Dale is a free agent.
He is a free agent.
Yes.
Okay, so that I did not know that. I did not know he was a free agent. So that does open a lot of questions if he does walk and he was 1,000 yard receiver. I mean, he's 5'8", a good slot. He's one of the best slot receivers in the league, in my opinion. I mean, that man's been phenomenal
Mhm.
for them, especially with the whole on and off with the teams with Jackson Dart, Russell Wilson situation, Diamond quarterback gain half play, and he still does it phenomenal. So he's definitely an interesting thing coming in this free agency. So I agree with that if I gotta say it. But I'll more side of the offense line because that Giants O line has always been, yeah, tremendous, if anything.
Yeah.
With the Browns here, depending who the coach is, and I know it's far out and all that, and firing Kevin Stefanski, who is the best fit if you had to say for the head coach job for here? It's such an open thing. That would be funny if John Harbaugh went to Cleveland, just say giant fuck you to Baltimore, but I don't know who's
Ah,
a good fit for the Browns. It's such a weird. You get a guaranteed good defense. I think the one thing I will say, promote Jim Schwartz. You could do that, but last time they promoted a coach, it was Freddie Kitchens, and they went 6-10 with the one of the best offenses you see in the league, but they had no offensive line, so probably that. But I think they could honestly promote Jim Schwartz because you do not want to limit George Schwartz because that man has done phenomenal for the past 2 years with that defense, even though the offense has been lackluster.
yeah. I mean, like I've said before, you don't let a genius walk out of the building. You've seen Ben Johnson, you've seen Liam Cohen. You got to sometimes take the risk of firing a coach that you don't think is the best, even though your record may be good, even though the scheme might be great. But letting Ben Johnson walk kind of hurt the Lions. And honestly, I do think they could promote him. But my
Mhm.
prediction is I could see Mike McCarthy coming into the Cleveland Browns.
If Mike goes there, that would honestly that's a big gamble for him. I mean, he's been guaranteed with great quarterbacks with Aaron Rodgers, earlier Brett Favre, and um, Dak Prescott. I mean, he's been gifted with these quarterbacks. Can he do this with Shadur? Can he really do really good with Shadur? Or maybe he go gets his quarterback in free agency or somehow, some way. Um,
Hmm.
that's a pick. Who's the coach? It depends on that. But barring if the coach is good and everything, they do keep Shadur. I have them taking Cordell Tate here, have that combination, build a chemistry with Shadur. I think you give Shadur one more year. We saw 6 games. I think you give him a full year. I mean, it was 8 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, almost had 1,500 yards. I'm correct. That game against the Tennessee Titans was the prime. Like that game was phenomenal by Shadur. That like say, okay, this guy can play in this NFL. But then you go to the Bears week, this guy's okay. What the hell? This guy is 3 interceptions. So it's a lot of mechanics he's got to work on. But I have him take
Hmm.
Tate because the thing about Tate is that they need a number one. Jared Judy is not it. I don't think Jared Judy is a true number one. I think you got to get a 6'4" from Ohio State, from the area. I mean, it would just fits perfectly in that system if you get Tate there.
Yeah, and I mean, I kind of like that. I kind of like that idea, especially with Carnell Tate and, like you said, Jerry Judy, a solid wide receiver. But I mean, him as a two is so much better than him as a one, especially if you're trying to rely on that passing game.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna surprise you with this one. This is where my first trade is at,
Okay,
and I have your Dallas Cowboys trading up to number 6.
that is a bold prediction. Wow, number 6. And what would be the trade? What would be the trade?
Right now, I think it would be the 12th pick. You give that to Cleveland, and I'm debating on either giving them that 2027 other first round pick
Okay.
or a second, and then you give them or Dallas receives a fourth in that too for this
Okay.
or next year.
Mm.
But I mean, y'all are in a win now situation. Even though a lot of people are thinking like Jerry's been kind of stepping back and trading Micah, but I mean, obviously Dak Prescott's aging. You have a young wide receiver one in George Pickens, and then another stud receiver in CeeDee Lamb, who's already got his bag. You have a solid running back, Javante, whether he signs or not. And, I feel like you guys need to get that defensive secondary that you kind of need. And I think you guys kind of go over the Washington Commanders and go with Caleb Downs.
That's the thing is if we get Caleb, it is over. Not over, but our defense is back. And Caleb is a factor like a Kyle Hampton, James type of player that can change your defense, and you can run zone. You can switch your defense to a straight zone defense. You don't even have to run man because how good of Caleb Downs is. Like he can
Mm-hmm.
move everywhere on the field. And Ohio State was never known for their zone. No, not zone man this year, but they were more of a zone defense because of Caleb Downs and Sony Styles pretty much in the back end. for this defense. So if we somehow get Caleb in this trade, Jerry is been aggressive. He doesn't care anymore. I mean, that guy's. I mean, whoever we get as DC coordinator, he got to build his defense around Caleb Downs if it does happen. Um, that's what you have to do. And it's usually the top defenses usually build around a good safety. I mean, you look at throughout history, Ed Reed, Brian Dawkins, Troy Polamalu. Great defenses are built off great safeties, pretty much.
Yeah, I completely agree. And the reason why I did this is because if there's no trade, uh, Brown's going to go a wide receiver there. But also, you jump a divisional rival with the Washington Commanders, who are also in need of a safety. And, when you're in a win now situation, and you also have a team that the Commanders who are maybe in a win now situation with Jaden Daniels, you kind of don't want to give them the opportunity to get a generational talent, in my opinion, with Caleb Downs.
Okay. I see that. All right. Going to the next pick now. I have the Commanders, speaking of our division rival, well, my division rival, I have them taking Bane at 7. They need an edge rusher. If Bane falls to 7, if Tennessee Titans does pass him, I think he goes to the Commanders. The Commanders needs edge rusher. They need another guy. I mean, the whole defensive line was brutal this year. They sucked getting at pressure. I mean, they got better at the end of the year with Dan Quinn calling plays, but they need a superstar on that defensive edge. I mean, George Armstrong, I know he tore his ACL. Von Miller's not the same player, of course. They had a couple of other players that kind of standed out a little bit on their defense. I don't know who there is, like a number 69 or something like that. I mean, there's a couple of veterans. Johnny Newton. Payne's going to get traded this offseason. He's done. The whole Commander situation was such a flop. I mean, they depend so much on the veterans this year. I think they take Bane here because they got to get a generational talent edge rusher. He is phenomenal. He's literally insane. I mean, if I had a comparison to him like a superhero comp set, is literally Bane from literally DC because, I mean, Bane. I mean, that is insane. So I hate this move. As a Cowboys fan, I do not want this to happen, but I think the Commanders will take Bane at this pick and get that edge rusher help.
Okay, I'm also going the edge rushing route. I'm going with the second guy on my board for edge. It's Keldrick Falk out of Auburn. Yep. Basically going based on what you said. That edge rushing is getting old, and this year was complete flop for the Commanders. A lot of Super Bowl aspirations. Getting Deebo Samuel and all that, all those pieces. She's just going what? I don't know what they're 5-12, 6-11, something like that. And it was kind of embarrassing for them because you got to protect your quarterback. I don't think they did as much as a lot of people really initially thought. And Terry McLaurin kind of flopped this year too. So give me Keldrick Falk to the Commanders to kind of pulverize that defense.
And it emphasizes too, they fired Cliff yesterday, and then they fired their DC too with Johnny Witt or Joe Witt. I don't even know their DC. So they have new coordinators. They got to find some new people in the system. We'll see how it goes. A lot of people say Brian Daboll is going to be the OC maybe, and DC. I don't know who's a hot topic right now for DC. Al Harris, a former Dan Quinn guy. So there's been talks about that right now. If they bring that happen, that would be entertaining to get some good new coordinators, new systems, pretty much. I would like to see how Brian Daboll does with Jaden. It would be very entertaining. If Al Harris does go with the Commanders, that would easily put them back in the top category with the secondary up there, if I say.
Yeah, I agree.
So, now Saints. This pick is very interesting with the Saints. They don't need quarterback now. Tyler's their guy, if anything, for now. We've seen for the past games. The running back room is very interesting. You could go Jeremiah here with Devin Neal, that whole Alvin Kamara, if doesn't want to come back or he's going to retire. Receiver room, it's very weak with Chris Olave. He has dying every play with concussion. The O-line is good. I'll say the O-line, they focus so much on their O-line. If their O-line needs help, they go after it. That's what I realized with this GM. They took Banks last year. And the defensive side, I mean, they were 10th in sacks this year with Cam Ward coming off of 10 sacks after being 36. Demario Davis, I don't know if he's going to come back or he's going to retire. The secondary with Justin Reed, this team is very daunting. I'm going to let them take Peter Woods at this pick. It's a reach. It's a big reach in my opinion. I had this in my mock earlier. This whole thing, I always had him taking Peter Woods. Get another demoted guy, pretty much. Get that D tackle position. Get that nose guy to stop that run. They were probably one of the worst. I don't know if they were against rush defense, if I'm correct. I mean, let me see. Saints. Rush defense ranking pretty much. I mean, they were 19th in the league pretty much, allowing 120. Probably say allowed 120 yards per allowed in each game pretty much. So maybe Peter Woods can be that guy. I mean, Peter Woods coming in from Clemson, him and Parker, if I'm correct, the other edge rusher, if from Clemson, I forgot his name. Is it Parker? If I'm correct.
I think he's on my list somewhere.
TJ Parker, yeah. Him and TJ Parker, both of them phenomenal coming out of Clemson. Hot topic,
No,
that
no, no.
Clemson fell off a little bit, and they kind of fell off too. So I think Peter Woods at this pick is very high. I know it's a big reach, but him and Brian Brees would be a phenomenal combination because Brian Brees is more of the like finesse kind of guy, and Peter Woods was that stop that rug, plug that hole pretty much. And I think you get that dynamic on that defense to be really good.
Yeah, I like that pick. Like you said before, that wide receiver room is very weak. And I had this guy after Carnell Tate because of the injury concerns that I have with him. And it's going to be Jordan Tyson to the New Orleans Saints. Like you said, they found their guy in Tyler Shug. Chris Olave's been kind of injury prone too recently. But when you have a franchise quarterback that you kind of see the future with him, especially even though he's a little older on the older side, get him a wide receiver one like Jordan Tyson and build that duo of Chris Olave and Jordan Tyson and hope for the best, especially with the development of your quarterback.
I can see that definitely. They do need another receiver with that. After losing Reed Shaheed, and then they have a bunch of like Deuce Bell or something like that. It's a very interesting receiver core, I'd say. And now going to the former champs, the back-to-back champs of in 22 and 23, the Chiefs. This pick right here, they got to take Jeremiah Love. They got to take a superstar. I have them taking Jeremiah Love. It makes sense. You got to get the best. Your running team was bad. Mahomes was your leading rusher at one point in the season. It's the Pacheco era and the Kareem Hunt era is done. It was great for a little while. Isaiah Pacheco was phenomenal. Then he got hurt. It wasn't the same explosiveness. Wasn't angry running anymore. It was just getting tackled at the line of scrimmage, not making the finesse plays. So they got to go Jeremiah Love. Jeremiah Love is phenomenal running back. Should have been like a Heisman winner in my opinion, but great running back. Brought Notre Dame contention every single week. That they were literally that foundation was Jeremiah Love making plays. I mean, hurdling every single one, making 99-yard plays. This guy was phenomenal. So I think if they get that dynamic duo with Mahomes and Jeremiah Love, that could be dangerous if anything. When Mahomes comes back.
Okay, I like that. Especially bearing Brees Hall's kind of decision.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly see Spencer Fano going to the Chiefs. Kind of boost up that offensive line. They've struggled for a little bit, especially after some guys left, and they've lost their touch, and they don't have their quarterback next year. So, my opinion, I don't see why you would be paying a running back top dollar, especially with Jeremiah Love, who's going to be that top 10 pick, getting that top 10 money. And right now, I feel like more of a concern is at O-line rather than a running back. And I see Spencer Fano, guy out of Utah, really talented, and just to help Mahomes kind of get back from that injury, just give him more protection.
I could see that definitely with the Chiefs. They got to rebuild everything. It's a new system. They got to restart pretty much a whole new scheme back. When Mahomes gets back, it's going to be different from what we saw from that Super Bowl year when they went to it against Philadelphia. Whole different thing. Now you get the Bengals. Mm-hmm. I got them taking an edge rusher here. They're going to lose Trey Hendricks. Trey Hendricks is walking. Yep. So I got them taking Kotrick Falk here from Auburn. What you said is the same thing with him. Second best edge rusher. I think him and the guy that's Tremaine Stewart, I think that duo can be really good. Applying pressure at the quarterback. Build that duo right there. Because that defense is still lackluster. There's so much work they got to fix. And the O-line is just always going to suck. It's just, I don't know. You got to fire Zach Taylor, but they don't want to fire Zach Taylor because Joe Burrow says, I like Zach Taylor. They're going to be in this damn role. Like, how he says, like, you keep making the same mistake. How's the saying? You keep making the same mistakes, you're crazy or something like that. I don't even know.
It's if you keep doing the same thing and expect something different, that's insanity or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what they're doing. They're expecting the same. They're expecting Zach Taylor's going to do something. They're done. I don't think the Bengals will make the playoffs until they fire Zach Taylor, in my opinion.
Wow. That's a bold take right there.
I'm saying it right now.
Yeah, I mean, this guy should have been fired 2 years ago. And I also have them taking a defensive player, but I have them taking on D-line. I got them taking Caleb Banks out of Florida. This defense is just really, really bad. Mm-hmm. This offense can put up 40 points a game. Defense will let 41 points against them. That's how they keep losing games. It's not because of the offense. It's not because of Joe Burrow getting injured. Although, yes, Joe Burrow getting injured kind of puts them out of games, and they'll lose maybe 20-41. But getting a defensive guy like Caleb Banks who can stop the run, who can stop, maybe put pressure on the quarterback, can help this defense, especially when their secondary with I think it's Cam Taylor Britt. He's a stud, and they have a solid secondary, but that front four has just been really bad. And putting him up next to a guy like Shamir Stewart will kind of give QBs nightmares for the long term. And they don't need anyone on offense right now. Maybe O-line in free agency, but you're not going with a guy who can catch balls or run the ball. Chase Brown started off the season pretty slow, picked it up towards the end of the season. We saw that last year. Maybe he's fool's gold again, but you gotta up this defense, especially when you're having Joe Burrow age.
I see that. You got to do this defense fixly quick, emphasizing that. With Miami's in a whole different situation. I mean, the two experiments is done. Achane and Waldo's your team. I have them going defense here. They got to go secondary. I got them going Jermerick McCoy. I have this guy forever on their draft board since day one of the NFL season because they needed to fix that secondary quick since trading Jalen Ramsey and a lot of these guys. I have them taking here Jermerick McCoy or the guy from LSU. Forgot his name. Is it Mansour Delay? That cornerback from LSU. One of those. They got to take secondary in my opinion right here.
Completely agree with you. And I also have the same pick. McCoy going to the Dolphins. That secondary is really, really bad. The Tua experiment is kind of over, and I feel like the Tyreek experiment's also over. So they're going to maybe cut those two guys, save a lot of cap, and just go into a full rebuild. Booster that defense, wait for maybe some free agents to come in. Miami's a really nice place in the United States, and I know a lot of people really like to play there, especially in a city like that. So you kind of just wait, maybe let free agents again walk in, and rely on the draft for the future because this team isn't really going anywhere.
No, they're not. They got to fix some situations, and it's going to be interesting what the quarterback situation is going to be for the next team. And it's going to be Achane. It's Achane's team and Waddle. Those are the two. You got to build off those two players right there.
Yep.
So my Dallas Cowboys, I have Caleb Downs falling all the way down to 12. So I still have him taking Caleb Downs in this draft some way. And if Caleb does come to us, it'll be phenomenal. It would be great. But now, with this pick, you have the Cleveland Browns here, if I'm correct. So who do you have the Cleveland Browns taking?
Francis Mauigoa, the guy out of Miami. They need some O-line help for Shedeur. And I feel like they'll go with a guy like him to kind of help, again, Shedeur. Even Quinshon Judkins, he's a stud. The defense is completely fine. They're in a role right now where they're the reverse Bengals. If those teams came together, Super Bowl contender. But they're not. That's the reality. They need offensive help. And, start with the offensive line. Build the trenches up.
I agree with you with that. Definitely. They definitely need to improve that. I mean, with Tate, with the receiver help or O-line, they just got to stick offensive ways. It's kind of the opposite of the Bengals. Defense, then they got to focus on their offense. It's a whole thing.
Yep.
Then the Rams here, I don't even know if they keep this pick. I don't know if what's going to be the system. Is Matthew Stafford going to retire or are they going to trade for a quarterback? If they don't trade this pick, I have them going O-line. I have them taking Caleb Lloyd from Utah. I think they got to bolster the O-line element. Their defense is phenomenal. I am not worried about their defense. They have the weapons with Devontae and Puka. If Devontae doesn't retire, they have Kyren Williams. I think this pick is either a quarterback pick or O-line pick right here.
Yeah, I completely agree. And, they're going to be in contention for the next 5 years if they go quarterback here. But I have them taking Caden Proctor out of Alabama. Like you said, defense is great. Defense is fantastic. Sean McVay, one hell of a coach. And Matthew Stafford, although he's aging, I don't think it's the time yet to go get a quarterback.
No.
I usually think they're the team that will trade for a quarterback rather than draft a quarterback. Instead of wasting a pick on maybe developing a guy, maybe like Ty Simpson, and going with the risk of this guy might not turn out, I think they go with the obvious pick here, offensive line. Like I said before with the Cleveland Browns, build those trenches up. Talented running back duo with Corum and Kyren. So, yeah, go with Caden Proctor, my guy out of Alabama.
Yeah, pretty much both of us taking offensive tackle. And the Ravens here now, the Ravens with their situation, we don't even know who their coach is going to be. Could be Brian Flores. This would be an insane move. They take Brian. The Ravens do this with their current GM and Ozzy. Ozzy's been always doing this forever since he's been the owner for the team. They take the best player available, always. They always do this, no matter what. And if the best player is available, they could take Dave Bailey here or Sony Styles, one of the two players. I think. I think Dave Bailey, because they got to go defense. Because the defense got better at the end of the year. I'll give them that. But I think you improve the edge rusher, keep it going. You trade away Odife earlier this year. You're going to let go David Ojobo, if anything. So you're letting go players in this defense. So get Dave Bailey. Dave Bailey was phenomenal this year for Texas Tech. We had, I don't know, like 13 and a half sacks or 14, I don't know. One of the best defenses in the country. So getting Dave Bailey in that defense would be honestly stellar for this team.
Yeah, they need some defense. That offense, again, is really good with Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, who's getting older, who's still a really good running back, and Zay Flowers, who kind of exploded at the end. But I have them going with Peter Woods out of Clemson to kind of boost up that D-line. Like you said, their owner really likes to go with the best guys available, and it's worked. You know, that you saw them going with Kyle Hamilton a couple of years ago. People saw that as a what the hell are they doing pick, and it turned out Kyle Hamilton's probably one of, if not the best defensive players in the NFL. The reason why is you can put him anywhere on the field, and he will just maximize what his potential, basically, and give hell to quarterbacks. But again, with Peter Woods, you know, that defense needs a lot of help. And, you know, that's the reason why they might have lost that last game to the Steelers. You let Aaron Rodgers go down on you twice in a row during the fourth quarter. So, yeah, kind of build that defense back up again, especially when you're in contention with Lamar Jackson.
Of course. I mean, Lamar Jackson has at least 2 more years, in my opinion, to be a runner. I think he has 2 more years to be a string, like, dual threat, and then you're done. And that it's going to be quick. So you got 2 years, a 2-year window. And you already fired your coach, so you can't say he's going to hold you back. So it's all in Lamar Jackson up next year, if I have to say.
Mm-hmm.
And the Bucks here, I have the Bucks taking Sony Styles here. Their defense needs a game changer. I mean, their defense is like, it got worse at the end of the year. I know Latavius Davis is phenomenal, but it's time to get another guy in there. Sony Styles could be that type of guy, that 1A, 1B type of player, like the upcoming, pretty much a Padawan, if I have to say Star Wars thing. Latavius Davis can teach him over there, let him learn the mechanics, and let him be the next leader of this defense, pretty much. I mean, Sony Styles is phenomenal. He can move laterally and everything. He was phenomenal for this Ohio State defense this past year. So, and you could place him like, he's Kyle Hamilton, if you have to say, too. Another Kyle Hamilton. He can play that safety. He can move you in the box. You could put anywhere you need to put Sony Styles. And I think he could be perfect like that. I just hope he doesn't become Isaiah Simmons, if anything. That's my worst comparison right there. So, yeah.
Yeah, I like that comparison. I mean, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers secondary this year has been a big liability.
Mm-hmm.
And I have them taking a guy, Avian Terrell, out of Clemson, cornerback. Back-to-back Clemson picks. Mm-hmm. They need a secondary. They have their wide receiver, one of the future in Emeka. QB1 right now, Baker Mayfield, Bucky Irving, getting that offense. You know, a lot of teams I've seen in this draft need to go on based off of, this is so obvious, but go based off what your worst position is right now. And a lot of these teams who are kind of high up in the draft right now should be contenders. And in this playoffs, I've seen a lot of teams that kind of could be in the situation that these other teams are in. But when you're a contender with a high pick, you again go with the biggest weakness on your team, even if you don't think he's the best guy on the board, and go with Avion Terrell.
That's a good pick right there. And he'll be playing in the same division as his brother if that happens. So that would be very interesting. And now with this pick, you can go first. The Jets. If this, I have this pick already set, but like, who do you think they're going to say? I think I already know who you're going to say.
I think I'm going to go opposite what I'm going to say. I mean, unless he does leave, and if he stays or we franchise tag him, I think we go Mekhi Lemon. Get a slot receiver.
I agree with you that. I think they go Mekhi Lemon right here, too.
Okay.
I think Lemon would be phenomenal for the system for this team. Lemon could fit with Garrett Wilson right there. You know, got his contract extension already there this past offseason. I mean, he didn't play the rest of the year. But getting Lemon, I mean, Lemon won that award over Jeremiah Smith, that best receiver in the country award, pretty much.
Yep.
And Lemon could beat you with a deep threat. We saw what he was with this year with USC. That offense was phenomenal with him and Jaden. So he could take the top of the defense of the inside, can work the outside, work more the deep threat receiver, if anything. And that's what y'all need, is a deep threat receiver like that. Because Garrett Wilson, he can drive down the field, get you the meteor catches and all that. But Lemon, that makes you take the top of the defense, and he's phenomenal with that.
Yeah, I completely agree. Especially when you have Garrett Wilson, who's kind of in the zone threat or kind of a mid-range threat with the team. and give it a slot receiver like a guy like Mekhi Lemon, who's been compared to an Amon-Ra St. Brown type of
Mm-hmm.
player, and getting Dante Moore another weapon. And like I've been saying, a lot of people have been telling me that AD Mitchell is a good two, but I think AD Mitchell would be perfect as a three, or maybe even the two when you put Mekhi Lemon in the slot. I think this team could really have a bright future on offense, not defense yet. Especially if we get the right offense coordinator, I think you can unlock Dante Moore's potential, Mekhi Lemon's potential, and even Garrett Wilson can improve. So yeah,
Definitely could see that. Definitely with that. And now the Lions. I have the Lions taking Francis from Miami. I don't know if Taylor Decker's going to retire. They need to improve the O line because Taylor Decker did look like he was falling off a little bit in that game against Minnesota. It was bad. So I have them taking offensive tackle here, improve the O line, let Jared Goff, protect him because he's getting up to age that he needs protection. He cannot stay alive or he's going to end up like Kirk Cousins and just be hitting on the butt pretty much every single play. So I have him taking offensive tackle here.
yeah. Like I said before, there's a lot of teams in the playoffs this year who I don't really see in the playoffs, and they kind of vice versa with teams that are in this like situation where they already know their draft position this early, not even playoffs have started. And the Detroit Lions are in a win now team who had a bad season based off of losing both their offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
And big respects to those two guys. But I feel like Dan Campbell needs more help. And getting a defensive guy like David Bailey for the Detroit Lions will be very good for them.
That's the thing is they got to either go edge rush or O line. In my opinion, it's one of those you got to fix those line scrimmage right there. They have the weapons on both things. They have the secondary of Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch, so that's not an issue. So you got to improve, and you have a good linebacker core with Derek Barnes, with Jack Campbell and Alonzo. So you have that. You just got to improve the front seven, if I have to say, not the front seven, the front four and the front five, right there.
Yep.
And this pick, I don't even know who they take because on paper, they have the defense, they have the offense, and it all depends on damn 9. And I don't know who the fuck they take here. I don't. Because Minnesota, their team is too good to beat this ass on paper. It can't. You have a top tight end. You have a good receiver core with Jordan Addison and JJ. Your O-line is not even bad. It's not. And the defense, we saw what they did to everyone. They dominated. I know it was maybe Brian Flores, but they dominated. So at this pick, this might be a reach. It might be. I don't know. I don't even want to say it. It's they don't need anything else. And they already have Jonathan Allen. They have the defensive tackle room good. Dallas Turner and Jonathan, the other edge rusher. So they have edge rushers. So who do you have them taking? I just need to see.
I haven't said this guy's name yet, and you have an aging running back with Aaron Jones. I think they get Jeremiah Love here.
If Jeremiah falls to them, they have the best offense in the world.
Whether or not 9 does his job.
Yeah, like,
he looked good towards the end of the season, though. I can't lie. He looked decent. Shout out to him.
It just hopefully he stays healthy. That's the thing. Can he stay healthy? I'm just so concerned is his health. If Jeremiah Love falls in Minnesota, that offense will be the best offense we've seen in recent memory, in my opinion. You have JJ.
I agree.
You have a top 10 number 2 receiver from my side. Jordan Addison's up there top 10 as number 2 receivers. TJ Hawkinson could be a top 5 tight end if he stays healthy. The O-line with Christian Dollar and then Donovan Jackson they drafted this year. And then you have O'Neal still at the other tackle. And already speak the defense. I think defensive-wise, you're losing Harrison Smith. You could go safety, but if it's not Caleb Downs, you don't take a safety early in this draft right here. So I will
yes,
also,
and I don't want to interrupt you real quick,
mm-hmm.
but going back to JJ McCarthy, I wanted to get this off before you went to your draft. He was a rookie this year. He didn't play all last year, and you got to give him the benefit of the doubt. He looked okay in college, won a national championship, maybe a run merchant. But when you get a guy like Jeremiah Love, you can be the running merchant that you are.
Definitely can happen like that. And for this pick, I might have them taking C.J. Allen here from Georgia. I mean, he's solid. He's a good linebacker for this. He's solid. I mean, their team is just so good on paper. If Jeremiah Love does fall here, it would be phenomenal. But I have them taking C.J. Allen from Georgia.
Wow, that's an interesting pick right there.
I know it is. So that is our first 18 picks. I know it was a long video for everyone, but thank y'all for joining this episode of Dextonia Sports. Like and subscribe. Get ready for a college football week of the Final Four semifinals. I can't wait for it. We will join with another guest, hopefully, with us. But if it's not, it will just be me and Ty for us. But thank y'all for joining us for this episode today.
Peace.